Hi there.
Hi, welcome back to Curious Collection. I'm Will.
I'm Cinnamon.
So there's this concept that has kind of been rolling around in my mind for a couple of months now, and I really didn't know how to make the video, and I don't know that I do still. But it's a couple of different ideas kind of mashed together. And as a reseller, I'm always looking for opportunities. How do we make more money? How do we get on the inside track? How do we beat everyone else to the next thing? And so one of the things that I've been thinking about is the fact that eBay has been talking, and we kind of have to read between the lines on this, but they talk about how they're looking for the enthusiast for the platform, right? They want the enthusiast buyer. And then they talk about how they're trying to reorient the app and the selling process using AI to engage more collectors and consumers to sell their old products, right? To clean out the garage. So we're going back to that late 90s idea that you can sell your old stuff on eBay.
But it's different. So in the 90s, it was like, oh, well, this is like a garage sale kind of thing. Whereas I think, and what you've been talking about is more of those high-end collectors, right? Those people who have their Louis Vuitton bags, or the people who have their, railroad models, or
right. And I think that, eBay did kind of lose their way because they were trying to specifically target the person who has the Louis Vuitton collection or, other premium products like Rolexes. And I think that was, in my personal opinion, if I own a Rolex, I bought it at a jeweler, I bought it from a reputable, trusted source, I'm not going to just risk a $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 item to the postal service. I'm not going to risk it with eBay. I'm not going to risk sending that product to some to
the person who rando. You don't know if it's a safe buyer.
Right. So I think that eBay lost their way with that. And I think that some of the signs that we're seeing out there are kind of showing things turning the other direction again, turning back towards, again, that enthusiast, the expert buyer who's also a seller. So some of the anecdotal things that I've seen out there, we're going to step away from eBay for half a minute and we'll get back to it at the end. But we have sold at a local consignment thrift store, antique
mall
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of undefined. There's antiques, there's junk, there's a variety of price points from retail all the way down to dollar store type levels. So, but what I experienced when we had our booth there was that a lot of the sales transactions were coming from other vendors.
Yeah, when we worked at flea markets, right. It was the same way.
So that place was tough. It was a 12 booth market, which is very small, and it was always a challenge to try to just meet your rent payment. And the rent was $120 a month, I think, at the time. We've sold out of a couple of different flea markets, and we found the same thing to be true, that the consumer, the customer, was other vendors. Other sellers we sold more product to straight sellers than we did to people off the street.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So there's a couple of examples. Now, you guys also know that if you watch our channel for any amount of time, I've talked about the fact that I had 20 years of experience in retail. And we had a very loose policy with regard to returns. And the reason for that was that the company had found through research, through data-driven analytics, they found that if you brought something back to the store and returned it, you would spend more money than you spent on the product initially.
Well, yeah, because you got that money back. So that's free money. And now you get to go shopping with the free money, but it's never just the money that you got back from that return.
Right.
It's, so I need this too, and I'm already here, so I might as well buy it.
Right. So that's one of the things that's tumbling around in my mind. And I've used the term with you, circular economy, and it isn't necessarily a circular economy. A circular circular economy is like the example I used with you was like the steel industry. They're taking steel ore, they're converting that into steel, they're selling it to maybe an auto manufacturer. They take that product, sell it to the consumer. You use the vehicle, you use up the usability of the vehicle, but then you take it and you sell it to a scrapyard. They then take that scrap steel, send it back to the smelter, and the process starts over again. The steel is never used up. It's merely changing forms. And the best I could come up with this is cash.
The dollars that go into the platform from a sale, like, okay, we have a sale on the platform. We earn $20 on that sale. So now we have $20 tied up in the eBay system, and eBay wants us to use those $20 funds to buy more products for our business. You know, they want to keep that money. And Mercari is the same way. Mercari has the no fees. They'll charge you to take your money out of their system, but they don't charge you if you spend the money on the platform. So they're trying to incentivize you to keep your money on their platform.
Mm-hmm. And the same thing applies to eBay with regard to, you know, the fact that you can use your funds to shop, to buy items and goods off the platform before those funds are even settled.
Right.
It used to work that when we had PayPal on eBay, that PayPal would pay you out directly immediately, right? And eBay, because I'm sure they saw the loss in the revenue, decided that they wanted to keep those funds on the platform. It opens up options for them. One, the funds are on the platform. Two, it builds their portfolio. They're now managing millions or billions of dollars in cash. They can leverage that.
Sure, they get the interest on whatever's in the account. I mean, we aren't.
Right. So, you know, there's a couple of different things going on, and which is why I've struggled to put this video out. The other thing is that we've seen the successes with, like, flea markets where vendors are selling to other vendors. We've also seen the flip side of that, where maybe the rents increased or the traffic from seasonal traffic has shifted and changed. And when those vendors leave, they take not just their product with them, but they also take their dollars.
Right.
And so I think that there's a big risk there associated with these platforms, and that every time they increase the rates, anytime that they increase any fees,
anytime they make it harder on sellers,
right, they change the dynamic of the platform, and so now my items aren't selling.
Right. And so now, you know, okay, so I have to go get a full-time job because I'm not making it on eBay anymore. So even if I'm just doing it part-time, well, I'm not going to be spending all of my time and energy on the platform, which means I'm not doing those comps, and I'm not finding my, you know, I just sold a necklace that I bought on eBay to resell because I was doing a comp on a different item. I saw this, I knew it was undervalued, so I purchased it to resell because I thought that the listing that they had, the piece was worth more than what they were asking. And then I was then able to resell that item on the same platform. Better pictures, better listing, better identification of what it actually was. And then I was able to get my profits off of that item.
Well, and so that was actually something that I wanted to talk about, was that the time that you are engaged on a platform. The longer you are active on a platform. Now, I'm talking about intervals, right? So I'm not saying, oh, my account's been open since 2004. I'm saying that,
no, the actual,
how much time do I put in every day?
From 8 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock p.m., we are on eBay refreshing, looking at listings, you know, seeing the feeds, whatever's on it.
The more engagement you have with a website, it doesn't matter if it's eBay, Temu, right, Amazon, the more time that you're on and engaged, the more likely you are to buy something. So I struggle to go, what do we do with this? What do we do with this information?
Mm-hmm.
I go to the auctions every Tuesday. If I stay for an hour, I rarely buy anything. If I have a lot that's coming up at the end of the day, we will have a carload.
We will, even though we have no intention on buying any of the things, we still end up filling up the car because we're there. So of course we're going to find things that we could, maybe do something with, because it's there, it's in front of us. These platforms are the same way.
Right.
If you're in front of it long enough, you're going to find something that you can do with something.
Right. So it really, it does convert you into that consumer, even if you're just there to do some work. And again, I worked in a retailer for 20 years.
There were plenty of times that he would call me up and be like, oh, you got to get down here because I'm here. I'm seeing this. You need to come down and purchase
you
this.
You end up spending a good amount of your income wherever you are on whatever's available to buy.
Yeah.
I talked about right before I left the company, they installed all of these automated vending machines, and that vending machine would take money out of your paycheck. So it was seamless. Mm-hmm. You would literally scan your name badge. Your name badge was linked to your personal
not real
account,
money. That's just your
you could
badge.
Eat your paycheck before you got paid. Because again, they made it easy and they put it in front of your face. And there was no pain associated with that transaction because it would disappear before you ever saw that money. Mm-hmm. And, so again, more of these platforms are doing it. We've seen it now. 2 weeks ago, Mercari announced that they were going to do 0 seller fees on all new items.
And people were getting all up in arms because they were going to charge you to take the money out of the account.
Right. And I think that that's the
very
exact
intentional.
intention. The intention is keep the dollars on the platform. Mm-hmm. Mercari, Etsy, eBay, all of these platforms, they're not advertising. If you notice, like I will go online and I'll look at ads. Of course, I'm interacting with ads because I'm online and I don't have an ad blocker. So I see all the stuff and it's Temu all day long. I don't see any of these other platforms, even though I'm engaged with these platforms. They're obviously they're sending me cookies. Mm-hmm. I'm not seeing ads for those platforms. It's always Temu. So Temu's eating the low fruit, and the other platforms are struggling to engage customers in the same way. The best way they have right now, I think, is what they're trying to do. And that's where, I've kind of been waiting for this video because I'm waiting to see what they're going to do with it and go, okay, well, here we are. We're finally here. They're going to start dropping fees. They have to because they're pushing their core consumer away.
Well, and I think that's exactly what's happening is that they're seeing like they're going to do whatever they can to increase their profits at everyone else's detriment because that's corporate, right? They're going to do it until they can't. And I think that they've gotten to the point that they're starting to see that they're pushing their sellers away and that their sellers are actually one of their biggest buyers.
Right. Yes. And I think that they're recognizing that the sellers are the biggest buyers on the platforms. And as soon as you have that bad taste in your mouth, you're gone.
Well, and we've talked about the fact that we want to buy on eBay. We want to put our money where our business is.
And we want to support the other sellers on the platform that we're selling on.
Right, absolutely. And just like when you're working at the flea market, I would much rather purchase something if I was going to buy it anyway from one of those other sellers. I want to support the business that's supporting me. Mm-hmm. And so when I want to shop on eBay, but their fees are so high that the sellers can't afford to give a reasonable offer, that's hard on everyone. How do you pay more for something,
Right. And so that's one of the things that I always struggle with is that we don't sell on Amazon. We do have an Amazon seller account, but we've never even completed one listing. There's so much gating involved with the process. It's so challenging.
It's a totally different animal. And we walked down the eBay path.
Right,
you know,
right.
I think that's really what it is.
It really, we just kind of fell into it because it was so much easier to just sell your first item. And so I do think that that's one of the things that we're seeing, again, the pressure from the outside. It concerns me that we end up spending the majority of our money online on Amazon because of the ease of use and the price points. Even though, so Amazon is known to have the highest fees, but from the consumer standpoint, they make it the easiest and they ensure that you get the best price. So, you know, here's some opportunities for eBay to be able to step up, or other platforms to be able to step up and say, hey, you know what, we're going to automatically show you, yes, it's going to be the most relevant item in your search, but it's also going to be the best price. So what do we do with this information? And how do we make this profitable?
That's a very good question.
So I think, first of all, we need to remember that our dollars are how we vote. So if we're going to spend money on a platform, we need to keep in mind, what do those fee structures look like? What are the promotions look like? You know, what is our experience on the platform? Should we continue to put more inventory into a platform that's not performing in a way that we like? I hear a lot of people talk about how expensive it is to sell on certain platforms, and yet they continue to do it. This is our opportunity. There is weakness in the marketplace for reselling platforms, and so we're forcing them as consumers to be more competitive.
Well, and I think that's exactly what's happening, because, you know, Mercari came out and said that they were going to reduce fees, and the uproar that the reselling community had over that, like, in a good way, in a bad way, whatever it was, there was a lot going on. And it looks like if they're a good business, like, people are going to pay attention to that, you know? And so the people at eBay, I'm sure, are seeing what's going on and trying to gauge the reaction and then come up with a plan.
Especially when eBay's talking about they want that enthusiast seller. If every person who sold railroad toys, whatever, model railroad, as the example that we were using, just took all their products and went to a different platform, they're not going to get the shoppers either. And so that's really the most important part, is that, you know, where are the good sellers going? Right. I mean, with the Poshmark has done a very good job of marketing to these sellers, like, oh, well, come join our parties and do your shopping on this, and then when you want to replace your wardrobe, you can sell it on this platform as well, but keep replacing your wardrobe on this platform. You know, oh, buy new jewelry and then sell the stuff that you don't wear anymore. And I feel like that was originally what eBay was meant for, and they've kind of lost their way. You know, and the other platforms are going, okay, well then I guess if you're not going to take care of it, there's room for us to take care of that market share. And eBay's going, oh shit, no, I don't want to get rid of that market share. I'm really hoping that,
so.
They are waking up to this. One of the experiences that we've had and we've talked about is that we do sell on Whatnot, and this is something new for us. We have only been doing it for about 2 months. Last year, photography was our #1 category on eBay. We did just over $12,000 in photograph sales last year. In the less than 2 months that we've been selling on Whatnot, we've done over $2,000 in sales. Again, who are we selling to? We're selling to other sellers. That's really what the platform's about. They've done a lot of work focusing in on gathering the sellers. They haven't done a lot of marketing getting out
the buyers
to get buyers. It's all the people they're bringing in are sellers.
And it's funny because, like, you see the same names coming into your auctions, right? So you see those same names, but then if you look at the other shows that are going on, it's those same names. So you know that these are sellers because like they're literally on both ends.
Or they're truly the enthusiast consumer.
Right. And those people are saying, oh no, this was for my own personal collection. I'm not getting rid of this one, you know,
Yeah,
and you see that too.
That we sold the other day for like $160 and it was for their personal collection, even though they are a dealer.
Right.
So, you know,
because those are those enthusiasts. Those are the people who are going to spend $160 on an album. You know, it's not that person who's just happening by your booth. You know, like you do need those higher end collectors to be there.
Right. And so I do want to kind of touch on that. A lot of people have talked about how Whatnot is for low value items. It's seller discards. It's, you know, volumes of junk basically. And the only way you can do it is if you're an online personality. We do not have a big channel. We are not what I would consider to be an online personality. And the majority of the people that come to our shows, frankly, are those enthusiast collectors. They're not
there for us.
They're not, right. They have no idea who we are. We don't talk about our YouTube show or anything like that. So I think it really is important. The market is changing very rapidly right now. And I think it's worth noting, and that's why we've done the video, is because it really is, we need to take a moment and just kind of think about, what does this look like? What's it going to look like in 5 years?
And what is our role in that? You know, where do we fit in? How are we going to adapt to a changing, you know, platforms? You know, all of it.
Yeah. And it is, again, very important to recognize that, you know, the sellers, those small sellers, not the people that are importing a million pieces a year from Asia.
That's a completely different animal.
I'm talking about the consumer seller. That really is the heartbeat of reselling. And those are the primary buyers. Those really are the people that you have to keep engaged, because if they are having bad selling experiences, they're going to pick up their stuff and they're going to go home.
Right.
And you know, we've talked about
for whatever that means, whether it's jumping platform, whether it's going back to having a corporate job, whether it's, you know, all right, well, I'm just going to retire, and I'm not going to do this anymore because it's not worth the hassle. Yeah,
we've bought out multiple people from reselling that were just done. They had enough, they were sick of it, and they were done. And again,
those people aren't going to be continuing to come back to the platform to look and see what new stuff is out there. You know, they're like, no, I wash my hands of you. I'm done.
Yeah. So it is very hopeful looking forward. eBay has now announced that in their UK market, that individual sellers, that consumer seller, when they list their clothing items, they'll have zero fees. Permanently zero fees on clothing. That tells me that they're recognizing that clothing buyer is worth having. It's worth paying the cost of not getting fees on them if you can keep those sales dollars on the platform.
Yeah. Well, and just like, I mean, if you're passionate about clothes, you know, just like I'm passionate about jewelry, I've looked at eBay for buying jewelry for my own personal collection as well. I just bought a ring last night at the auction for my personal collection. We bought a ring a couple of weeks ago for my personal collection, you know, and then I'm also looking at some of the things that I have in my jewelry box and I'm going, well, you know, this new thing came my way and I like this or that about that. So maybe I should get rid of something that maybe I'm not as passionate about to make more room for the things that I'm more passionate about, you know? But if you tell me, like, if you make me completely sick of your platform because of the high fees, because of the algorithm, because of whatever the things are that we complain about.
Return rate.
Right. Yeah. You know, if I am just so mad at your platform, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Right. And you're not, once you go through that,
I'm not going to come back to you.
Right.
You know, I'm not going back to some ex. There's a reason we broke up.
Right. So, you know, I want to share, like, there's this auction house that we go to, and it's quite a ways away. It's a 45-minute drive, 35, 45.
But we make it work if we want to.
Right. And so it's not a regular auction house for us. We probably buy something from them twice a month. And yesterday they had an auction. Mm-hmm. It was online. To drive over there, drive back, it's too much. I can't go do that for previewing. They had listed an item for sale on their online auction. It was broken. I didn't realize it was broken.
Because it's not in the listing, like the title, and it's not in the first picture. It's like buried in the description. You have to like do 5 clicks in order to find out that mm-hmm. that it was broken.
Right. So this was an item that we were planning on reselling, mm-hmm. and once I realized my mistake, I had bid on something that was broken. They had intentionally listed it. My perception was that they had listed it in a way that they didn't want you to realize that it was broken so that they could get more dollars out of those bids.
And this isn't the first time that that's happened.
Right. So I just said, I'm done. I won the one item. As soon as I realized what happened, I stopped bidding. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to bid on that item. I'm not going to bid on any other item. I won the item for $2 because it was broken. It should have been a $40 item. Mm-hmm. But I won it for $2, and now I have to throw it away.
Right.
It's now cost me money. If I wanted to drive over there, I'm going to lose more money. Mm-hmm. So my intention is I'm going to pay them the $2. I won the auction. That's the right thing to do.
Right.
And I'm going to let them know that they need to throw that item away.
Right.
I'm not going to come pick it up, and I won't be bidding in the future.
Mm-hmm. Stop selling broken things.
And so they've ruined my experience because of how poor that experience has been over time.
And we had actually been talking about the possibility of consigning through them as well in the future. That's not going to happen. We're not going to use them on either end of the deal anymore. Because again, like. There's only so much you can be burned before you are like, you're done.
Right. So as we move forward again, these are just some thoughts that are tumbling around. And mm-hmm. if you guys can figure out a way to make sense of this and make it make money, let us know. I think it's an interesting observation. Mm-hmm. So.
All right. Thanks so much, guys. We really hope that you guys are doing well out there and that you're finding that things are working for you and maybe you're joining Mercari, with the no fees or I hope that this is all good news for you. I hope that this is really beneficial in all avenues on all the platforms.
Mm-hmm. I do too. So. Why don't you like and subscribe? Leave us a comment down below. Mm-hmm. Explain to us what your thoughts are and how any of us can use this to make it a better selling experience, make it a better buying experience, and hopefully make us all more money.
All right. Thanks so much. Good luck to you guys out there.